Okay, I still got so many boxes of bags that I need to review for my main channel. However, I invest time making these vlogs, and that is a very good segment because this video is all about the items that you need to invest in when you are starting a new YouTube channel. So the first thing that you should invest in is yourself. Put time into making these vlogs and videos. Just like I work out every day, either going to the gym or working out at home, I invest time into making these videos as much as possible because you do want to make these as regularly as possible and try out and kind of hone your skill. Just like with any sport, martial arts in general, you have to do those things as often as possible to get a routine and to get better at that. And what you really need to think about is to be not afraid of making mistakes, because when you're making mistakes, you will learn and you will improve over time. That is why you need to do these videos as much as possible. And to be quite honest, in the beginning, when you don't have that many subscribers and you haven't found your niche yet and your voice yet, which I mentioned in my previous video, you can experiment as much as possible and use the opportunity, because not that many people watch you yet, to kind of try out everything and then kind of find out what fits you and what you really like. So investing time into making your first YouTube videos, your first videos in general, is so important. And again, you really need to be not afraid to make mistakes. It is so important to make mistakes and then start over, improving. And that is the reason why I think the first item on your list should be should be your videos. Invest time in making videos and do it as regularly as possible. And just with working out, for me, it was like starting out very small. So I started out doing jumping ropes for just 1 minute, but I did it every single day. So I could improve and add to the time that I'm doing those jumping ropes over time. And the same holds true with making videos. These vlogs, as I mentioned in my previous video, I want to keep them as simple as possible, but make them as many times as possible to get a routine and to get better, to make mistakes. Also, you need to repeat these conversations in front of the camera, because if you're looking at some of my very first videos that I did, I believe like 12 years ago, I was so stiff in front of the camera. You really need to get used to talking to the camera, and that is only possible if you do it very regularly. So again, invest in yourself by making videos as much as possible. Don't be afraid to make mistakes and keep it as simple as possible to help you make these videos as regularly as possible to kind of get a routine and to hone your skills. So the next thing that you should invest in, besides practicing and investing time to create these videos, these vlogs, and whatever it might be, should be to invest time in thinking about your voice and your storyline. And let me elaborate on that a little bit. In my previous video, I said that you need to find your niche. And when I'm saying that you need to invest time in finding your voice and your story, this can be, what do you want to communicate? What do you want to tell? If you are making a vlog, that is all good. You can make a vlog and tell your day-to-day life and what you're doing. That is your story. That could be your story, and your voice is how you communicate that. If you want to make reviews, that is your storyline, telling the pros, the cons, and then the conclusion and the verdict of that product. That is your story, right? Or if you are into, I don't know, fitness, and then telling how many reps you made or what kind of fitness you're doing, that is your story. And then how you communicate your story is your voice. And in my humble opinion, in the beginning, you probably don't know what you want to do. And that is why the first part of this investment, taking time to practice, to just make these videos and make mistakes, is so important. And on that journey, you start to find your storyline. You start to find what do you like, what kind of videos you want to make. So it could be reviews, as I said, vlogs about your day-to-day life, or tips and tricks, advice, I don't know. That could be a story that you find along the way. And then also along the way you will find your voice. If you're doing vlogs, then your voice could be making silent vlogs, just filming beautiful imagery about your day and then attach some subtitles. That could be your voice. Or your voice could be just, I'm going to talk in front of the camera. That's also a good possibility. If it's a review, as I said, your voice could be structuring the review in a way that makes more sense to you instead of just doing pros, cons, and then the verdict. That is all okay, but I think it is important to invest time into thinking about how you want to make your videos coherent and interesting, because a video without a story, and the story in practical movie terms is introduction of characters, conflict, solution, and then conclusion, basically, to totally simplify it. But that doesn't need to be the case with your videos. That would be good, but in my humble opinion, your videos should have some form of structure, and that could be the story. So for example, if it's a vlog, it could start with your day, then you just tell what you're going to do on that day, you do that, and then you end the day. That is a very simple story, but it is a story. Instead of just rambling, not knowing where the day is going, and then in essence confusing your viewers. So it is, in my humble opinion, important to invest time into thinking about what your story and what your voice is going to be in the future for your YouTube channel. So the third item on this list of things that you should invest in is, let's do something that you can actually invest in instead of just investing time in yourself. I thought this would be maybe a little bit more interesting for some of you. You maybe already noticed it when I was cutting some fruit, or more specifically this apple, for the breakfast of my wife. I always cut her up some fruit in the morning. Well, that was stupid. As you can tell, everything that I just recorded was out of focus. And that just goes hand in hand with the first part of this video, where I said invest in yourself and practice as much as possible and don't be afraid to make mistakes. And I made the mistake to not put the camera into face tracking or into single point focus, because it was on continuous autofocus. It focused on the item that was the closest to the camera, which was my faucet of the my sink. And yeah, therefore everything is out of focus on that part of this video, and I'm really sorry about that. But again, this goes hand in hand with the first part of this video, where I said don't be afraid to make mistakes, because again, if you don't make mistakes, you cannot improve. And now I know that in the future I really need to take care of the focus and be careful that the camera doesn't focus on the item that is closest to the camera. So yeah, that was a stupid mistake, and I'm really sorry that everything is out of focus in the segment of the microphone part of this video. And yeah, so sorry about that. Again, don't worry about it. If this happens to you, just continue making those videos, making those mistakes, and hopefully you can improve in the long run. A little bit more interesting for some of you is sound. And I intentionally stand far away from my camera at the moment to kind of illustrate that sound is so important. Because if the image quality is bad, but the sound is good, then you can get away with almost anything in a video, in my humble opinion. Sound is the most important part of a video. Because even if you have an Arri Alexa, a Red camera, or a high quality mirrorless camera, if the sound is terrible, then people will switch off immediately. If you film with an iPhone but the sound is crisp and everyone can hear and notice what you're saying, then people are more likely to stay on the video. So the third item on this list that you should invest in is a mic. I specifically use the DJI Mic 2 that is able to connect directly to my Pocket 3 camera. But overall, I prefer lavalier mics because those give me the ability to kind of walk around and always have the same sound level and sound quality close to my body. Right now it is right here on my neck. Usually I prefer to have it here on my chest, but right now this is what I can do at the moment. So this is the DJI Mic 2. I will link mics and also other items that I will mention in this video later on in the description below. Those are affiliate links. With those you won't pay more, but you will support this channel with a small kickback of that sale, and maybe those recommendations will help you when you start your YouTube channel. Again, this is the DJI Mic 2 because it can connect directly to the Pocket 3, and I would recommend to invest in mic. In honesty, you don't have to invest in the best mic, but I would invest in just some mic to get it closer to your mouth, to have the best pickup pattern and closest pickup of what you're saying as possible. Obviously, it's great if you can invest in a DJI Mic 2, a DJI Mic Mini, or the ones from Rode. I have those two. Those I connect to my other camera. But in the beginning, I would say get a lav mic. There are some that you can use either with a cable to attach to your phone, for example, but then obviously you are limited in the range of where you can walk without tugging at the cable. But there are also wireless lavalier mics that you can connect directly to your iPhone or to your Android phone and then walk around the room whilst having a good mic very close to your mouth. So in my humble opinion, the first investment in terms of equipment should not be a camera, but I would say rather invest in a good microphone. You can also get a shotgun mic, but while the sound, if you use it correctly, is much better than a lav mic, the shotgun mic still needs to be in close proximity to your mouth and then pointed, just like the name implies. Like a shotgun needs to be pointed directly to the sound source, in this case your mouth. So you're a little bit limited where you can point the shotgun mic and then where you can walk without kind of messing up the sound. So shotgun mic is good when you're sitting, when you're not moving around, when you have the option to kind of hide away that shotgun mic out of frame. For example, imagine my hand is a shotgun mic. You would need to kind of frame it here so that it is outside of frame. But again, I personally, if I would start anew, I would recommend to buy a lavalier mic. And in my humble opinion, I really love the DJI Mic 2, but the ones from Rode are amazing as well. And it kind of depends on what camera you use. I will get to that in just a second. But for me, with the DJI Pocket 3 and the DJI Mic 2, being connected without any extras is amazing, and that is why I love this lavalier mic and I can highly recommend it. Although there are many more items that you should invest in before going all into a camera, I think some of you newer creators want a camera recommendation, and that is why the last investment in this video is about cameras. And I will definitely give you a recommendation at the end of this segment, but I really want to say, if you are investing in a camera, really think hard about the first items in this video first before going all into a camera. And more importantly, many of you have a phone. A phone is a valid option to record all of your videos, especially if you consider the third item on this list, which is a microphone. If the microphone is great, you can get away with most of the cameras that are available, especially with a phone camera. And if you consider buying a camera, really think hard about that. It's not only the cost of the camera, but also the accessories like batteries, SD cards, maybe a top handle or whatever, a case. Also, obviously, the third part, the microphone. So there's a lot of costs involved that goes into investing into a camera. So really think hard about what camera you are actually able to afford, and more importantly, think about if your phone potentially is good enough. Next up, if you consider investing into a camera, really think hard about not necessarily how much in terms of budget you want to spend, but also in terms of how much are you willing to carry around. Because in the beginning I made the mistake to buy a big camera rig, which obviously gave me amazing image quality, but I noticed that A, I was getting a little bit lazy to carry that much gear around, and B, it felt very awkward to talk in front of the camera that is so big and noticeable when people were around. So that is definitely something you should think hard about. Yes, a bigger camera will be amazing in terms of image quality and in terms of the investment that you make. But in my experience, especially in the beginning, that kind of equipment will get in your way and kind of hinder you from creating videos. That's why I would recommend to invest in good microphones and then just film with your phone. Or, and that is now my technical recommendation, equipment recommendation, buy the DJI Pocket 3, because then if you go with the creator kit, you have the DJI Mic 2, a good phone, and overall you have a camera that is fairly small, so you can carry it around wherever you go, and it is not as big to kind of get in your way. And more importantly, it also has really good image quality, as you can hopefully tell from the video that you are seeing here at the moment. This video is a mix between the DJI Pocket 3 and the Fuji X-M5, all in combination either with the DJI Mic 2 or with the Rode Wireless Go, if I'm not completely mistaken about that product name. So yeah, that would be my camera tip if you would start and really want to buy a camera to start YouTube and start vlogging. Outro take 2, clap sync. Okay, just to make a point that you can record with your phone, this is all recorded on my phone, the Samsung Fold 5 in auto, whilst I'm doing my audio recording on the DJI Mic 2, and I will sync that later on and post. Yeah, if you have any questions about anything that I mentioned in this video, comment below. I hope you liked all of this advice. And yeah, if you want to see the very first video about how to find your niche, check out the video up here, and YouTube thinks that you like the video down here. And don't forget to subscribe by clicking the button up here, and I see you in the next video. Thank you very much.